Hello and welcome to factoring trinomials when a is not equal to 1. This is lesson 2 in module 7. So that sign right there means not equal to 1. A we talked about was the number in front of x squared. So in this example here, you can see that the a value is 2. In the last lesson, we looked at all situations where the a value is 1 and we could factor a certain way. When the a value is different than 1, things change a little bit. So first thing you want to look for is a GCF. Is there a GCF that I could factor out of this polynomial or trinomial? Yes, I could. They're all even, right? So I could divide each of these by the same number, and that would be 2. So I'm going to divide each of these by 2, and I'm going to put that on the outside. We did this a couple weeks ago. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so 1x squared. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so 5x. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now I've factored out a monomial. I have a trinomial still left inside the parentheses. Can I factor that further? I can, but the nice thing is the number in front of the x squared inside the parentheses is a 1. This is what we did last lesson. Are there two numbers that multiply to 4 and add to 5? Yes, there are, 4 and 1. And we write our answer like that. Don't forget to put the 2 that you factored out at the beginning in front. All right. Now, there's not always going to be a GCF. In this case here, there's not a number that I can divide out of 5, 13, and 6. If there's not, what do we do? Well, I've got this 5x squared here, right? When a was 1, the only way you could possibly get x squared by multiplying was doing x times x. Now I've got 5x squared. In this case, the only way I can do that is to multiply 5x times x. But notice one of the terms is 5x. That's different. All right. Now let's look at 6. That's what we did with the last one. We're going to do that again. What are the factors of 6? They're 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Now let's add those. Do 1 plus 6 is 7 and 2 plus 3 is 5. Do either one of those add to negative 13? Not even close. And that's because, and that doesn't mean we're wrong. What's going to happen is this 5x is going to play a part in one of these numbers, which is going to affect what happens to the middle. And I'll show you what happens here in a little bit. Before we start trying these, I want you to see the signs. My C value, or 6, was positive. That means these two numbers have to have the same sign, so they can be both positive or both negative. Because the middle term is negative, I know that both of these have to be negative. So that's where you see the negative and the negative. Now, I just picked the first one here. What I'm doing is I'm guessing and checking. So when I guess and check, you're going to get very good at this. You're going to be doing this quite a bit. And as you do it, you're going to get more comfortable with it. At the beginning, you'll probably be a little leery of it, but keep trying. It will get better. So I'm going to take 1 and 6 and plug them in. And we have to check. That's the first guess. We have to check and see, do we get negative 13x when we multiply? So let's do it. We check, like I showed you this in the last lesson, 5x times negative 6, that's negative 30x. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. When I add those together, I get negative 31x. Does that match the negative 13x? No, it does not. So we got to take out the 1 and the 6 and try something else. Let's try flipping them. So it's not just 1 and 6. I could do 6 and 1. That does have an effect because instead of the 6 getting multiplied by 5, now the 1's getting multiplied by 5. So when I check, it's going to be only negative 5x and negative 6x. That's negative 11x. It's closer, but it's still not right. All right, so 6 and 1 don't work. Now let's try 2 and 3. Okay, let's check it. 5x and negative 3 is negative 15x. That's negative 2x. That's negative 17x. Still no luck. Let's turn it around. The 3 and the 2 go in different spots. Okay, so 5x and negative 2 is negative 10. Negative 3 and x is negative 3x. Add those up, negative 13x. And finally, we have arrived at the correct answer. So my answer to this problem is 5x minus 3 and x minus 2. Now, I knew what the correct answer was, and I did this on purpose because I wanted to show you that you might have to guess multiple times before you find the right combination. Don't give up. Keep trying. Like I said, when you start doing this more, you're going to notice some patterns, and you're going to notice some things that happen more often than not. Okay, so let's get started on this one. This one has a lot of possibilities because there's a lot of ways I could get 12x squared. I could do 12x and 1x. I could do 2x and 6x. I could do 3x and 4x. So I'm going to start with x and 12x. Now I'm going to look at -9. I got 1 and -9, -1 and +9, and 3 and -3. All right. So I'm going to try 1 and -9. Let's try it. That's -108x and 1x. That's -107x. Not even close. Let's switch and put the negative with the 1 and the positive with the 9. And you're gonna see when you do that, the middle term for this one right here was -107x, which we know is wrong. If I flip the signs and put the negative with the 1 and the positive with the 9, it gives me +107x. That's a nice little pattern to notice. Flipping the signs with the two numbers changes the sign of the middle term. So if you get +52x, you need -52x, it's a very simple fix. Just swap the signs. Now, 107 is not right either, so not it. So we got to try again. You might think, let's try 3 and -3. Now, if I put 3 next to 12x, there's a GCF there. If there's a GCF, it does not work. It's not right. So we know 3 and -3 will not work here. So let's move on. X and 12x is not our right combination. Let's try 6x and 2x. Let's try put 1 and -9 in. So 6x and -9 is -54x. 1 and 2x is 2x. That gives me -52x. And we got it. Okay. There is a possibility that none of the 6x and 2x combinations would have worked, and I would have had to go into 3x and 4x. All right. So let's summarize what you're doing here. First thing you want to do is check for the monomial GCF. If there is, take it out and factor what's left. Okay, that was example 1 if you want to look back. Pay attention to the signs. Okay, you can put signs in, and if you know the tricks with the signs, that can be very helpful. And then check the factors. It's guess and check. It's not just guess. I see a lot of people who just say, I'm going to guess that number and I'm going to hope it's right. No, it's guess and then the check to make sure they add up to the middle term. All right, that concludes lesson 2. Good luck.